Hi Scorpio, welcome to my channel and welcome to your reading. All right, Scorpio, so let's see what's going on with your energies for the beginning, the end of June and the beginning of July. Right now, we're definitely feeling the vibrations of this new moon in Cancer, which is your sister sign. Is water, water, water with water. But this is a sister sign that rules our emotions. The moon represents, our subconscious mind, emotions, feelings. And in this particular cycle, the moon is coming back to her house. So what does that mean to us? How is that going to affect us? So imagine, I'm going to use this analogy. Imagine that you're gone on a long, long trip, a long journey. And now you get to come back to your own home. So it's kind of like that. There is a very positive aspect, of course, about this coming back. And there's also the negative side, just like anything else. So the positive aspect is that our feelings and our emotions are going to be the center of our attention. And it's not that we don't get to do it other times. It's just that in this particular case, it's all about our intimacy, what that means and what that represents to each one of us. It also talks about your relationship, not only with your physical body. So it's not only the intimacy that you create for yourself, but it's the intimacy that you create with others when it comes to your home and your family environment. So this is one of those moments where you're going to get to see the positive side of things, but you could also see the limiting side of things. And, it's going to be all about you, right? Because ultimately, we always need to remind ourselves that the type of relationships that we create with other people is an extension to the relationships that we're creating with oneself. And here's, where I say, in one of these moments, we need to be mindful about our feelings, especially if we're feeling either too sensitive or overly sensitive or emotional. And especially with those situations that we're not doing really well with the people that we love, because they're going to be emphasized in this cycle. And the purpose I always say, the purpose is so that we can find some resolution, reconcile those situations. That's the opportunity. Now, the question is whether we have the clarity and the desire to reconcile those challenges. Okay, so let's check your energy. It's interesting, Scorpio, because look, the card that is representing your energy in this particular reading and in this cycle is the Six of Cups upside down. And this is an expression of the Lovers. And I think that's the only six. Let me just check real quick if we have any other sixes. Let me see, Scorpio. Yeah, that's the only six we have. So, and this is the card that when it's in the right direction, right? It talks about sharing. Whether we are in a position to share or whether we're sharing our emotions and our feelings with somebody else, or whether, it also talks about past tense, the connections, how you nurture those connections. Six Cups is a very, very positive, beautiful card. It represents beautiful connections, beautiful emotions, but in this particular case, it's upside down. So that right away tells me that whatever is going on in this particular moment with you, And whomever you have in your mind that is coming out in this reading, you don't have communication right now. Okay? So there is probably a distancing here. The energy of the hangman comes out. And that's the thing, we can have major arcanas coming out in the reading, talking about the frequencies and the energies of this cycle. But the minor arcanas can also come out and, yes, talk about these energies here on the table, but it can also talk about the ones that are not showing up here. And that's the beauty of tarot, right? And that's the beauty of all the symbology and the numerology that I use when I do these readings, apart from my psychic abilities. All right, so here's the thing. So we have this situation right now that is probably the focus, the focal point of our energies. At least the cards are saying your emotions. It's the focal point. Doesn't mean that you don't have all this stuff going on, but there is a specific or, like some sort of focus in this particular situation that is grabbing your attention and is making you feel in many different ways, because there's a lot of cups in this reading. We have 15 cups. And out of those 15, we have 13 upside down. And it has to do with the 2 of cups, 6 of cups. So we have 8 there. Let's see where else. Oh, right back here in the recent past, we have a 5 of cups upside down. Okay. And this 5 of cup in this particular reading, Scorpio, says a lot about, why in this moment, this particular situation with this particular person may be a focal point. I decided to clarify this 5 of cups here. And it tells me that, this is a situation that back in the days when you were able to have this communication with this person, you were not in a good place because you were trying to heal from a past relationship. So there was some sort of triangle going on in that particular moment. And, you might have been struggling letting go from a past relationship, and then you get to meet this person and have a connection with this person. But your focus was not necessarily in pursuing this connection because you were trying to work things out with your past relationship, with your feelings. And you know how, Scorpio, we can struggle about letting go, especially if we have feelings with somebody. So, look at as many cards as it come out to get to this 3 of Swords, which is the energy that is carrying this 2 of Cups. So look at that. It's like, I held back. So it seems, Scorpio, in the way the tarot is giving me the story about this particular situation, this 3 of Swords here comes from a situation where, there were 3 people, you breaking away from a situation while meeting somebody new or getting to know somebody new, having an exchange with that person, but nothing came of it because you were still, in an emotional space. Your heart was not open. Let's put it that way. Your heart was not open. You were not emotionally available. But, and here comes the big but. But, whatever connection you nurture with this person was beautiful enough for you to be in the present moment thinking about that connection. So, you could have come to a place where you finally healed from the past connection. You have done a lot of healing, trying to work out a lot of emotional pain, a lot of, insecurities, whatever it is that we have to process sometimes from, relationships, especially unhealthy relationships. Sometimes, I don't know, I mean, there is unhealthy relationships, but there's also good relationships where we might have taken the other person for granted. So there's also that. And sometimes it takes for us to lose someone to begin to appreciate that person. Now, the question that I have here for you, Scorpio, is if this is a particular pattern of recognizing the love that you have for somebody after you lose them. And I'm just posing that question, okay? Because it's something that is coming up here. Or is it another, or is it, okay, so wait a minute, because something else is coming out here. It's coming up. Or could it be, Scorpio, that you have this habit of looking back and clinging to the past? Because one of the oracles has come out with that possibility. There is too much of clinging to the past. So if this is the case, could it then be, Scorpio, that this is a habit that you may have and develop that may push you into a power struggle where you start doubting yourself because either you don't know how to let go of the situation, and sometimes we can find a lot of excuses as to why we're not letting go of a situation, right? But the ideal thing is, can I learn the lessons from that situation without prolonging with suffering and pain of the letting go? Because people come in and out of our lives to help us, teach us certain lessons. So when it comes to love, I know for you, Scorpio, it's difficult because you're a very faithful and loyal person. But we have to learn to set healthy boundaries. So I feel like there's this, devil energy. And the reason why I'm phrasing what I'm saying to you in this way is because the influence of the cups in this particular reading is devil energy. Devil energy. So it talks about insecurities, about habits, unhealthy habits, a very mental state that comes from a place of insecurities that can create addictions. We can be addicted to emotions. So it's something for you to look at. But all I can tell you is that, I'm getting this vibe in this reading so I'm getting this vibe, okay? And the vibe is that that it's time to move on, but you're not. And you're focused in the past. And as you focus in that past, you're thinking about this person. And you're recognizing something beautiful or a possibility about this connection, but yet you're not doing anything about it. And it's like festing in an energy that is unhealthy. It's kind of like, it's like you have an open wound and you have the opportunity to heal it and close it, but you're not. And you're conscientious and aware that you're going through this process of healing, that you have the opportunity to heal everything, but yet you're choosing to keep certain wounds open because who knows? I mean, you have all kinds of reasons. Another oracle here says that it could be shame. It could be shame. It could be issues and challenges with your own self-esteem. And these issues and challenges can come from childhood. And here's where you need to be honest with yourself and dive deep within yourself and ask yourself what's going on. A lot of times, we're doing a lot of self-healing, but to remove the roots of an issue or a trauma, Sometimes it requires us, Scorpio, to go to several situations and experiences with different people that are going to be extremely painful. But it's one of the ways in which those people can help us dive deep within ourselves and remove a lot of those self-doubts that we create from traumas that we get from our childhood. And I'm telling you this because I'm talking from experience. I also have Scorpio in my chart, so I understand a little bit about your mental and psychological process when it comes to relationships. So I feel like, there's a lack of clarity here. You come with swords in this reading, which is not really your element. But, you could have a lot of thinking going on, a lot of analyzing. And it's like, you're not very clear. But, what I'm seeing here is a situation where, you're thinking a lot about it. But you're not really investigating by asking the other people involved if your doubts or your insecurities or your questions, okay, are correct. It's kind of, there's a little bit of assumptions here. I'm going to assume this because I did this and because of this happened. And I'll tell you, my friends, when you begin down that path and making decisions based on assumptions, one of the things that eventually you will discover is that you were wrong. You will discover that you were wrong. That the majority of the decisions that you made and the resolutions that you made were coming from a place of corruption, confusion. And it's just a story that you told yourself. Now, when I look at the energy of this person, they come in with the star. So there is an aspect here where this person is very positive. This person knows what they want. It probably is the type of person that you can connect to and feel really good about because it brings this level of clarity. I mean, this person being described as the 17, that's pretty cool. 17, 1, 7. 1 is the magician and 7 is the chariot. So this person has been able to probably conquer the chariot. In this particular reading, you have the chariot upside down. So you have the Fool, you have the Star, and the Chariot. And the Chariot is the type of card that talks about harmony within ourselves. So this is another card. And remember, in tarot, every card has a physical definition, but a non-physical one. When I do these readings, I like to kind of go deep into the meaning of the symbology, but also, I mix it with my intuition as well as numerology. So this is a card that talks about victory and success. Okay, and it's coming upside down. So somebody here didn't get away with what they wanted, or they just felt like in this particular situation they were not going to get anywhere. So they moved on. Okay, and this could be you, this could be your person. But we have the Chariot here. And let me see. Do we have another 7 in this reading? Oh, I'll tell you what. Swords, Scorpio, add up to 7. So we have 7 swords here. Okay, so we have the King of Swords upside down. That's 1. We have the 3. It's also upside down, the 3 of Swords. So we have 4, 5, 6, and then this Queen of Swords upside down here. So we have 7, and she's also upside down. So we have a couple here. Queen of Swords with a King of Pentacles, they're upside down. So that tells me two people that are involved, or whoever amount of people that are involved in this situation, they're not really doing anything about it. It's like you guys are not doing anything to figure out how to communicate and say what you have to say. And that's what's causing the Chariot to come out upside down. Now, again, the Chariot is the card that talks about success. So there is a lack of success in this situation because nobody has done anything about it. And, here's the thing. This is a card that tells us that we have been able to tame our weaknesses. And we're working with the light. And we're working with unity consciousness, the lovers. Okay, so the lovers is not only talking about a relationship with somebody, but it's also talking about your own relationship, the relationship that you have with you. And when you have a good relationship, and then the Chariot would come out, and it would talk about, the desire that you have to succeed. Here is upside down, and it's next to this Queen of Wands here. But it's interesting because if you notice the Queen of Wands, so the Chariot is talking about this Queen of Wands, as well as the King of Cups is talking about what happened here, and the Knight of Cups. So this is saying that, this Queen of Wands here didn't succeed, couldn't get to figure out how to harmonize this situation in a way that it was, satisfying. And then we see a King of Cups here walking away in a Knight of Cups. So someone walked away, moved on. It could also speak about this Queen of Wands that, made a decision to move on and to share their cups with somebody else. So you see what I mean? There's many options here. But ultimately, the one thing that I do recognize in this reading, Scorpio, is that somehow, right now, this is coming to you, and, you're kind of still thinking about this, and yet you have the Fool in your mind. It's like, that it's time to move on. It's like shit or get off the pot. Maybe that's a good name for this reading. Shit or get off the pot. You make a decision to do something about this, or just move on. But there is a quality about this waiting that is not very healthy. And that's why the Oracle is saying, is this what you really want? Because if it's not, move on. And if you're not moving on, what's causing you? What's keeping you from doing that? Is this a habit? Do you have this type of habits of just, holding on to people from the past after they left? Is it making you feel good, or is it making you suffer? Because again, both options bring you a lesson, okay? But ultimately, we have to have an objective. And this is where my Virgo mind comes in. I have Scorpio in my chart, but I also have Virgo. And, I have a lot of water in my chart. So I can be very sensitive and very emotional. But there's another part of me, because I have the Sun, Mercury, Pluto, and one more planet in Cancer. Okay. So as you could see, very sensitive. But, I have all these energies in one sign. And in one house. And let me see. I don't have the moon in Cancer. So I have it all in one house. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that, I have all these different energies working with me when it boils down to, working with my feelings, working with my intimacy, creating that intimacy, and then, the nature of relationships that I'm going to have with, with my emotions and with other people. So I don't have an issue dealing with deep emotions, even with the painful ones. But I've gotten to a point, Scorpio, that I ask myself, okay, for how long? And if I need to stay in this particular environment, why am I staying here? Again, this is the thing. If there's something that you're getting out of it, okay, there's a lesson. But if what you're getting is suffering after suffering, and like start becoming blown out of proportion where the energy is not balanced, devil energy, right? And then what are you gaining from this? Because I'm not saying, hey, don't feel your heart. Hey, don't have these moments. But for how long? What's the objective? And I guess that's my point here. Have you asked yourself, what's the objective of lingering in an environment where the energies are saying, okay, you're done with this. And yes, now you're recognizing something about this situation that you couldn't do before. But what are you going to do with it? What kind of actions? Are you going to try to resolve and bring justice to this situation? And this is where you're going to have to take chances. This is where you're going to have to take a risk. But if that's the only way that is going to make you feel at peace with yourself, do it. But if you're not going to do anything about it, and then why think about it and continue to hold on to a situation that is long gone? Because it's not healthy. So the oracle is addressing unhealthy patterns of behavior in this particular situation with you, Scorpio. It was hard for me to do this reading. I just could feel the energy. I did it in Spanish, but when it came to the English reading, was like, oh man, what? Why? So I had to take 24 hours to come back and do this. Now, the oracle is saying, hey, Scorpio, you can do it. Out of all the signs, if someone can achieve this level of change, it's you, because you represent change. And all the people that are coming under this sign, one of the reasons they chose to do it under the Scorpio sign is because you want to learn about this concept of change and transformation. On Earth, we call it death. But remember, you cannot destroy energy. So this is a very enticing theme because you get to experience something that outside this realm you cannot do. So, you may have this incredible interest in recognizing the process of, letting go and focusing on the future, that journey of this is something I need to let go, and what I go through little by little to achieve it as I become to focus on new things. And I feel like that's the process that you represent, Scorpio. Endings to new beginning. But I feel like, Scorpio, you may have this tendency in that process to be enamored. You're enamored with that process. And that's probably the lingering quality that you may have as you're dealing with this type of situations. I feel like this is a repetitive pattern here. Well, and that's what I'm getting from, the cards. Now, when you look at the coins, there's 11 coins, which is justice. It's asking for justice. And whenever time I hear justice, basically the oracle is saying, make a choice, make a decision. You have the information. You have the experiences. Put things into balance, the positive, weight it against the negative, and then make a choice. You will know when you do that balance what's what. So justice is not you about just making a choice about you. It's making the right choice. Something that makes you feel good. And something that is going to empower you. Now the wands, which is your fire, is holding the frequency of the hangman. Because the wands, 12 out of 12, there are 10 that are upside down, are reversed. And 2 are in the right position. And I don't believe that is you. I believe that is this queen of wands. But a lot of the ones here are upside down. Of course that, the elements are picking up your energy and the other person's energy. You know what I mean? It could be talking about either one of you or both of you's energy. We have a Ten of Wands, Wheel of Fortune here, upside down in the future. It's like we're not doing a darn thing about it, but yet we keep thinking about it. It's this situation in the past. And I'm imagining, Scorpio, that you probably are having situations or opportunities right now that you're considering, but somehow you seem to be comparing it to this particular person to the past, from the past. And you're trying to gauge the quality of this opportunity here now to the quality of that whoever person you're thinking of. So, what's the medicine in this? What is the solution apart from what I've already talked about and suggested? Again, I'm going to reinforce what the oracles are saying, because this is not about me. This is about what the oracles are saying. And the oracle here is saying, stop clinging to the past. Get out of your comfort zone, right? Get out of your comfort zone. Move your butt and do something about it. Take an initiative. Don't be so scared about rejection, or don't create stories in your head based on how you feel, your own insecurities, because you don't know. Don't make assumptions. And it's so easy sometimes to make assumptions. It's very easy to create stories in our mind and make a decision based on those stories and assumptions. There is true love. There is a connection here based on true love. So there's emotions, there's physical aspect, attraction, and there's unconditional love. And we need to sometimes revise our definitions about unconditional love. Because caring about somebody, I am not inside of you. So for me to say, oh, you're thinking this, or this person is thinking this, I'm lying to you, because I'm not inside of you. But I'm picking the influences or the frequencies and energies of those Scorpio that by affinity come to listen to this reading. So I have to be as honest as possible and share with you what I'm sensing. And in this particular case, when it comes to unconditional love, it's important that we revise those definitions, because liking somebody this much doesn't necessarily mean that this is love. Not being able to let go of someone that you really like and have developed feelings for, and setting them free and say, I love you with all my heart, but I know that I'm not the right person for you, nor we're in a place to be able to come together as one. So I'm going to set you free. So letting that person go and wishing them the best without you getting obsessed about that letting go, that's unconditional love. When we're obsessing about somebody, that is not unconditional. We may believe that it is, but no. Not when we're dealing with unity consciousness, when we're dealing with this concept of, love. And I want to say pure love, but there's a lot of connotations about, this concept of purity, because, oh my God, we've been so influenced to corrupt words, or to use certain words that are so loaded with corruption, and purity is another one. We have this tendency that purity means untouched, But to me, it's not something that is untouched. It's a state of mind that you can create, keeping in mind the conditions of the environment. It's like cleaning your environment, even though you might have used a lot of different things in that environment before. So it doesn't require you to be born pure. I mean, if you think about it, how many saints have become saints and mystics? How many of those people were not, they were not born or grew up being saints. They had a normal life. But we have this idea of sanctity that is so fucked up. So when I'm calling about pure love, or this more sophisticated frequencies, I'm talking about the power of coming together and surrendering in one. And we can call that purity, because nothing stands in the way of that union. So a need for revising definitions about true love, what we consider true love, is being asked here. Also, letting go of the shame. And I'll tell you, Scorpio, recently I started doing these meditations by Dr. Joe Dispenza, where he puts you in connection with the space or the matrix, the void. That's another word that we can use, the void. And this is what this card to me feels like. So maybe that's one of the things that you can do, is start doing these meditations where you connect with nothing, nothingness, the void. Does that mean that in this space nothing is happening? No. But we can merge with this type of energy and begin to remove a lot of the definitions that we create in our unconscious mind about what life should be, or who we are, or whatever it is that we believe that eventually begins getting in our way. So you represent change. You came here to change and experience this concept of change. But prolonging your connection in a situation where you need to let go, that is not change. That's called addiction. That's something else. So I wish you the best of luck, Scorpio. Thank you so much for listening. This is all I have for you. Till next time.